We max weight, baby. This is the story of the fattest scrambling QB in history, Fat Tony. And Fat Tony had 3 colleges he wanted to go to. Number 1, Ohio State. He knew the Ohio State buffet was flawless. Number 2, the Texas Longhorns, because his favorite restaurant is Longhorn. He get about 3 ribeyes before games. And finally, USC. His uncle is a chef at USC, so he gonna plug him with all the goodies. So Tony missed his first game due to indigestion and heartburn, but the second game of the season, his first play, he runs a 99-yard touchdown. The scouts couldn't believe it. The coach couldn't believe it. The scouting report said Tony ran a 4.9, but it's looking like Tony has a 4.4 speed now. This one play gave Tony a lot of attention, and it went famous on the app known as TikTok. They were reposting it called Go Fat Man Go. But Tony didn't care. He was a selfless guy unless it came to his food, and he dished it downfield to his boy Serrera. Tony went absolute savage this game, and he followed up with another touchdown right after to his boy Hudson. Tony and Hudson is very close because he uses him for math. Tony stays away from math because he don't like adding up his calories. But following this game, Tony also performed very well, throwing dots all over the field, dot right down the middle to Wilson. And then after that, he goes ahead and gets his first touchdown of the game. The beautiful donut spiral. And in the very next possession, he shows why he's so feared in the nation. He uses them legs and runs up the field, outrunning everybody except the last man to stop him from the touchdown. Tony was pissed. Tony also was an excellent track runner and an amazing basketball player, elite dribbler. You already know football came to him naturally, but he still needs polishing because he sometimes makes mistakes like that. He throws, sorry man, sorry, that shit. Of course, you know he had to redeem himself after that pick and followed it up with an amazing drive. Walk shows a lot of poise, patience, and dots it up the field. After that, they do an option play to Howell, and it gets through for the touchdown. MSHS is a terrible school, so this was an easy win for him because most of the time they beat this school anyway. So this right here was just for Tony to get his feels in and get his vibe in, because you already know this was an easy dub because they had the worst cornerbacks in the whole conference. These cornerbacks recruited from the tennis team, but they didn't have anybody else, so they had to bring them up. But Tony on the next play calls his own number and runs it in the touchdown. Hey, good play over there. Get the hell off me. I did that for me, not y'all. Very next possession, they throw another touchdown to his favorite target, TN Nugent. This was soon to be the duo of the whole season. Nugent was a kid they recruited from track that Tony recruited himself. But after this game, Tony got a lot of new offers from Notre Dame, LSU, and Clemson. Only thing that sounded good to him was Louisiana food, so he went straight for LSU. So far, his dream schools have some interest, but they're not fully locked in yet. He must do more. So the next game against Fultondale, the school where Tony's ex went to, he knew he had to shine because he knew she was in the stands watching, and he knew he had to show it up. So for the beginning of the game, Tony does a lot of running because he want to make a statement that I'm that guy. So he hits off the rip, showing the defense that they can't mess with him. They don't know what to do with the fat man. And Tony glimpses into the stands and sees his ex, and it makes him more riled up. He went crazy this game. This moment, it wasn't even about winning. It was about impressing her. He didn't even care. He actually was mad that Howell got that touchdown. He told the coach to let him run it. Tony and the coach had a lot of issues off field, but his coach normally give him a bag of McDonald's to make it up. But after a few failed run attempts, Tony sticks his middle finger out at the coach and said, I'm going to run what I want to run, and he picks a good play, and he ends up scoring off this touchdown. The coach was upset, but he couldn't get too mad because Tony is that guy. And of course, he hooked up his boy Chris Hudson. Ignoring coach's order, Tony runs his own set of plays and actually does very well, hits Serrera in the top, and then the next play he scores. So the coach is even more upset. He's like, yo, what am I here for? And Tony says, I don't know. You tell me. But right after the game, Florida offered him a scholarship, and he also got offered from Tennessee, South Carolina, and Missouri. He's not interested in neither one of them because he ain't got no eats there. But the next game was against the rival Holt. And Holt, they had a hatred of Fayette. So Tony knew what he had to do. He had to step up, and he did. He had an amazing game. The first play of the game was a completion from Howell for a first down 13-yard gain. And later in the drive, he hits his boy Nugent for another touchdown. These two are going to be scoring a lot. That's where they got their new nickname, Peanut Butter and Jelly. Tony is thick, so peanut butter, and then Nugent is smooth like jelly. And they showed their connection once again with a long touchdown run from Nugent. Look at the speed. Look at the speed from Nugent. Nugent runs it in for a touchdown. Tony's like, yes, sir. Run my numbers up, baby. So it's already 17-0, and they're embarrassing the rival school Hulk, and they continue with the domination. They continue as Tony looks upfield and hits Glick. Glick complains a lot because he don't touch the ball, but Tony doesn't care. He hits it up the field to Serrera, his second favorite receiver, and you know Tony runs it in the next possession. You know he got to. Fat Tony runs it in.
That's how you do it, baby.
Too heavy, my back. Coach pulled Tony out for a while, but he ended up coming back in the game because Holt actually had a last-minute come around. So, he came back in to seal the game with another game-winning drive or game-clutching drive. All they had to do at this point is not turn the ball over and not give him the ball back. So, followed up with a lot of running. The coach wanted to run the ball. So, Tony kept the option play, and he ran up the field for a nice gain. As you see right here, he ran up the field, and he tried to get that touchdown, but he just was short at the 1 yard line. The next play, Tony runs it in with his signature play, his signature option self-keep play that he always does every day at practice. He actually trucks the linebacker and runs it in for a touchdown. This was the game that really put Tony on the map, as he had an amazing game, and he finally got scholarships from all of his favorite schools. Texas, USC, and Ohio State all offered, along with LSU and Missouri. Even Nick Saban started flirting with him. But after a couple more wins, they were playoff bound. And they were just sweeping through these teams left and right as they cruised right on by Nap City for a 60-0 blowout game. There was a fight after the game in the parking lot, but Tony wasn't part of it. Ran to CC's Pizza immediately. The game against Mobile was another iconic game for Tony. Tony had his scholarships off, but at this point, he was viral on TikTok, had 1 million followers on TikTok, and the internet fame started to get to his head. So he wanted to run up the numbers even more. He wanted more people to clip him. So he threw it right to his boy Nugent for a touchdown. After this game, Nugent got his first scholarship offer to the University of Alabama, but Tony didn't really care to go to Alabama. But in the game versus Mobile, he throws his first interception in a few games, and he was pissed. What the hell route was that? Tony, out of rage the very next possession for messing up his stats, scrambles and finds his boy Craig deep. He refused to throw it to Hanson after that interception, so he threw it to Craig, and Craig made up for Hanson. Craig is an alcoholic and normally doesn't get the ball much, but he doesn't care. He's just playing because his dad makes him, even though he actually hates football himself. Tony knows this, so he doesn't even throw it to him. Later, Tony does another drive that ends up in a touchdown, throws it to Weisbecker, and the very next play scrambles, looks for somebody, and he actually finds somebody last second at the edge of the end zone for a touchdown. Weisbecker is an elite recruit himself. Has amazing hands, but Tony normally prefers to run. He hits Craig again, and Craig makes up. Craig's doing his thing this game. This game gave Craig his first Division II scholarship offer from the University of Southeast Missouri State. However, Craig is not going to go to college. He refuses. He's just doing this for a pastime. Fat Tony looks up for another possession, scrambles to the left, runs up the field and almost gets it, but end up kicking the field goal, and next thing you know, Fayette is up 51-7. 51-7. This is an easy blowout. The coaches are now happy with their decision. This game solidified Tony as one of the top recruits in the nation. He was TikTok famous and known on ESPN every other week for his play. This game right here sealed their playoff clinching, and with these 6 touchdowns, Tony has now become the #1 QB in the nation. Next game in the playoffs, Tony did his thing as well. He knew what time it was. All the scouts were there, so he knew he had to secure his scholarships and make an argument why he should be starter. Tony started off the game with amazing field vision, passing it with complete accuracy to all of his targets. Hits Serrera in the middle of the field with a long run. Serrera was ready for this game. He told Tony this is going to be his game. Tony laughed at him, but he actually did play a good game. Hey, good job, Tony. Yeah, praise me. The next possession, Tony makes another amazing drive, starting at the 99-yard line, runs up for the 5-yard gain, and a couple plays later, he's running again. He runs for an amazing run up the field, and he couldn't be stopped until he got to the red zone. Amazing. Good run. I'd have scored if you blocked better. The next play, Tony finds Craig for the end zone run. Craig is actually becoming an elite receiver himself, even though he doesn't like football. Tony is making him look that good, and so is Serrera. Serrera was right. He got another touchdown in the playoff game. It's a huge game. Serrera got his first Division III scholarship to the University of Boogieville. And again, Tony finds Craig once again for another touchdown. Craig is going insane this playoff game. They end up winning this first playoff game, but unfortunately, there was some terrible news. Craig was found guilty taking steroids, so Tony's team got disqualified from the playoffs. And the steroids were actually given to him by the coach. Coach wanted to win no matter what. After a couple NCAA scandals, they found out Tony had no correlation, so he didn't lose his scholarship offers. Now it's time for Tony to select his school. Will he go Alabama, LSU, Ohio State, Wisconsin, USC, or Texas? Or will he do a shocker and go to Florida? Tony wants good eats. Where do you think Tony should go? Leave it in the comments below.